Okay, for today's class, what we are gonna learn is learn about animation. Okay, basically we will do walkthrough in SketchUp. We will do something like the camera positioning, and also we will look into how to create shadows. Okay, in your model, and then we will talk how to make sections in SketchUp, which will be useful for you while making models or while creating perspective sections or something of that sort in your yeah, in your drawings and in your presentation. Okay, then we will look into something called styles, which is really important when creating illustrations. And so that is what we are going to discuss for today's class. So this is a model that I have taken from 3D warehouse. Okay. So now, yesterday, some of you just asked me why there is already something called a 3D warehouse in this Windows itself, and why I did not tell that you can take it from here. You can do that, but what is the problem is that you take 3D warehouse in the SketchUp software itself. This is gonna create a lot of problems with it. Will gonna delay your work. Okay, like it is gonna speed down your work. Because of that, I've told you to take it in Google, open 3D warehouse, and then work on it, so that your works becomes fast. Because once you if you check it out, you will understand why I've told it. Because there will be a small delay in your work efficiency, and it will start lagging. The software starts lagging when you if you open simultaneously the warehouse as well in it. Okay, so that is the first thing to be noted. And the second thing is that if you are opening any model that is being told, okay, that is being from that you have got from the 3D warehouse, you will open it in such a file. Then what if you want to take it to your file that you are working on? Don't copy paste directly. Instead of that, what you have to do is that copy it, Control C, Control V, and paste it one time in the same file which you have downloaded from the warehouse. Then copy it and then paste it on the file that you are going to work on. Okay, because if you don't do that, what happens is that there is something called a bug splash that happens. Okay, the anything that you have used, if you download from the warehouse, sometimes it may have some bugs. So if you copy paste in the same file, that bugs gets destroyed or something of that sort happens, and then you can basically copy paste into the new file. So the bug splash occurrence will chance will be really less. Okay, so now we'll go on to the animation part. So for animation, if in your default tray, you could see scenes being there. You can open it. You can see something like this occurs in your side default tray. Okay, so next what you have to do is we have to create scenes. Fine. For that, we are basically using this part. Scene means that you are basically creating a image, or you are creating a place or a positioning of it. Okay, now I'll talk about this much you got. So I'll go talk about this animation tools that is out in that toolbox which we missed in this toolbar. This is because these tools are used basically for animation purpose or walkthrough, for creating walkthroughs. Okay, the first thing is positioning camera. Positioning camera is if you are a human being, if you are standing at a position and then looking at the building, what will be your exact view of the building will be shown when you put this positioning camera. How to place this is that click on it and then keep at a place where you want to see it. When you place it, you can see that you will see you will get the view uh, s- of that of the model in the eye level of a person who has been standing at that position. You can change the eye height, because if you could see the measurement toolbar out down, you could see that it basically shows a person of 1600 mm. height, if a person is standing whose height is at 100 and 600 mm, his how he is gonna view this is basically shown presently by this tool. You can change the position of the eye by just typing in. For example, if you want a person who is having a eye level of 1800 mm, you can basically type it 1800 and press enter. You can see just like slightly it just went up. Fine. So that is how you basically make it in the eye level view of this building. Fine. And then you have look around tool. That is the second tool. If you press this, and then you could see that if you with your mouse you can basically move left or right, up and down. So this basically helps you in, it is like your head being used. Okay. If you want to pivot it or look up and down, that is basically being happening with this tool. Fine. And the third tool is the walk tool. The walk tool is when you press it, and if you move it up, it will make the person start moving towards the place. And if you move it backwards, it basically moves in a backward direction if you lower it. Okay, so you can basically move up or move down. So this basically means if you move it up means it will basically move forward, move it down means it will move the backward direction. Okay, so now if the one more thing, why you can basically zoom in and zoom out, but I don't prefer it. Because why na? Because this will distort the eye level position. If you that is why this walk tool is used. Okay, so and also one more thing is that if walk tool, if you are coming across a building element, if you touch it, what happens is that it will show something like a cross sign. So that is because it will not pass through any doors or windows. If you are walking through na, if you touch a wall or a window, it will not walk through them. Fine. So that is that is the thing that this walk tool does. Fine. So this much is clear. So these are the tools that is used for animating. Till this much is clear?
Yes, sir.
Any doubts? Okay, fine. So now I will start creating scenes for this animation so that it helps you in creating the walkthrough. So you can see that there is a plus sign and a negative sign and a refreshing sign. Okay, in your side default tray. So now what I am going to do is I am going to click plus. So if once when I click plus, what happens is a scene of this starts creating. Next, I am moving it into the sidewards direction, and with the help of just moving it with the orbit tool and this thing, I'm just moving it in this side. Okay. And next, I'm creating another scene. Scene is basically a still image of it. And then I'm creating the top view of it like this. Okay. I fly a bird's eye view of it. I'm basically creating three scenes now. Cool. So once you make three scenes, you can see that in their top tab as well, these three scenes occurs. So what this helps you is that if you want to do a presentation to your professor or so regarding the different views of this, you can basically use these three scenes and keep it ready and just click on it so that you can show them that this will be the this side, this will be the top view, the bird eyes view or so. Okay, and then what you have to do is go to, you can basically right click on the scene and just do play animation. Once you do play animation means that this will be this three images will keep rotating and create a video type. Got it? Now you can also change the speed of this settings. Like you can basically increase the speed of this animation, you can delay the pause that is been creating or so. Now I'm just clicking the pause so as to stop this playing, and then just close this animation and you can go to view animation settings, and then you can basically change the transition timings here. You can basically increase the transition time or decrease it, and you can also delay or increase the scene time. Okay, that is what it getting stopped or it getting moved on. Okay, you can basically change it and then you can close it, and then if you can play it again, it will start becoming some more faster. I made it 1.5 now. Okay, till this much, any doubts? No doubts? Okay. So you can create interesting walkthroughs. Okay. Like if, uh, like the ones basically if you could see in different websites or in different Insta pages, there are walkthroughs that are happening. So this animation, once if you have created and kept, we can basically render this in V-Ray, and you can basically create the renders out in the rendered walkthrough as well in V-Ray with the help of that plugin as well. Okay, so now you can basically create a SketchUp walkthrough with the help of this animation. Okay, with this one. Fine. So this much you guys understood. So next I will go to something called as a section. I know you guys know section. Section is basically the cut. If you want to cut a building into in and then look into from one side or the other side, that is not a section. So now if you could see the fourth tool out here, that is known as a section plane. Clicking on it, and then you can see something like this, something like a plane, okay, occurs. You can use the arrow tool so as to control the movement or control the plane or the axis of this sectional plane. Okay, now I'm just cutting it, I'm just placing it on here. So you could see something like this, a dialog box of this comes up. Now you can use section 1 and press OK. So then you can see a sectional plane of such a thing comes up. If you could left click on it, right click on it, and if you leave active cut, basically it basically shows the entire model. Again, if you left click and put active cut, if you tick it on, it will basically cut, it will show the cut. Okay, if you want, you can reverse the section as well. If you want to reverse and make it look from this side, you can basically right click it and you can tick on reverse. Okay, now you can see the reversed view. Cool. Then this plane is also like a element, that is you can move it with the help of move tool. You can select this, and with the help of move tool you can move it. Okay, and you can see that the sections being formed. Okay, automatically the sections gets generated, and you can click and you can basically you can basically select the best option. You can also rotate it. Okay, with the help of rotate tool you can basically rotate this at an angle. Also you can take a cut. Okay, not that in a single direction only you can make, you can cut it at an angle as well with the help of this sectional plane. But one thing is that you can't do a sectional change with the help of this section. So this plugin section plane means that if you want to cut from one, then you want to change it, and then if you want to cut, like you want to make a Z cut like this, if you want to make a Z cut like this now, it is not possible with the help of this section cut. Okay, and also if you have multiple sections, you can only activate one section at a time in SketchUp. Okay, like again I am taking this selection plane and I'm cutting it from the top. Okay, I'm doing okay, I'm giving okay. Then you can see that only the top section plane is getting activated. I'm just moving this section plane by selecting it and just moving it. Okay, okay, so you could see that only one section plane at a time could be activated. You can select this section plane, you can just make this you can just deactivate it. You can select this and activate this cut at a time. Fine. And you can use the perspective view. You can basically change the views camera to parallel projections, and then you can basically take the side or the left different elevations, and basically take the image of this to your to your sheets or so. so that this helps you to basically go do the presentation part. And before exporting, make sure that you untick sectional planes so that the box that was basically making the section place disappears, and you tick in sectional cut and sectional fill. Okay, if you don't tick sectional cut or sectional fill, if you don't cut sectional fill means it basically does not show the cutted sections in black or dark. Okay, so fill in the sectional fill as well. Fine. And then you can basically export it as the method which I have told yesterday as images. Fine. So till section you guys got how to make sections in SketchUp. Any doubts till now? If you guys want it to be repeated also, I can do that. You can add the scene of this section as well. If you can, if you could basically keep it like this, if you add plus one more sign, and then if you play it, you could see that in that fourth image, it will be like a cut plane section will be also formed in your animation of it like this. Got it? So you could also do that. Just closing the animation. Okay, now I'll tell you how to export this animation that you made. For that, you can go to View, Export Animation. Okay, and you can export it as MP4 format, and you can do export. You can basically export the video as well of this. Fine. So this much, any doubts? If anything I need to repeat also, you can basically tell, I can repeat it. Cool. No doubts. Fine. So we will go to shadows. So if you could go to view, toolbar, tick shadows out here. Okay. And then press close. So you can see something like this. A dialog box of like this would appear. And you can basically click on this show or hide shadow. Then you can see suddenly the shadows comes into the image, and now you can basically adjust the shadows according to your wish. Okay, like in June, July, you will get the shortest shadows, and you will get like the longer shadows during the June and December time. And also you can basically use the time of the day, like from evening or night time or in the noon. Which shadow you get, you want it to be the best, you can basically select it and keep. But while working, don't on the shadows and keep, because it is gonna give a load to your lap or your computer that you are using. So while working, you disable it and keep. And if you are taking any if you are taking any image or you're exporting any image, you can basically show the shadow as well. So the sciography is being understood by your professor or your client or the person you are basically gonna show it. Okay, cool. This much, any doubts? Because this is one of the most interesting thing that you can do if you are really good at it, basically for animating part. So it will be a really worth money making job as well. Okay, creating 3D animations out here out in SketchUp, or after this you can basically render this as well, then it is gonna be really good, views can be generated. Okay, fine. So and next is the styles. So you can go to the default tray, you can go to styles. Fine. Then you can go to, you can select, then you can see that there are lot of options like here coming up. Okay, so you can select each and check. You can see that the background can start changing according to when you are selecting one. Okay, so this, for the best, if you want a white background, okay, you don't want any other color to be there on your background now, select the third style which is been here. Okay, in the default style, third one you can basically select and then export it. You can also have lot of many other styles are there, like you can have a black and white monochromatic one. You can select this and export this as PNG or PDF as well, by the method that I told yesterday. And then you can basically go to the Photoshop or stuffs, and you can basically color it according to your wish and show the show the details of as illustrations. Okay, could be shown with the help of this. And one more plus point is that you have different types of settings or modes. For example, you can go to assort mode. You have something like this. You can basically create interesting illustrations and stuffs. Okay, like monochromatic look is there. There is something like a sketchy look is there. You can have like this like this. You might have seen some of your seniors or some of your people basically having something like this. Most of you must have thought that this is basically handmade or handthing. Nothing, it is basically SketchUp ka trick hai. So basically they just go to SketchUp and basically do this stuff. I'm basically view mein I'm just offing this section plain so that you can see. So you don't need watercoloring it, or you don't need to make the illustrations like you can basically simply export this as image and then put it in your sheet. Fine. You can also have like something like this as well. Okay, there are many stuffs, many different styles that is there. This is really good for you for making something like a illustrations for your models or anything. Okay, some one more thing is like the sketchy edges, which is something like architectural drawings or stuff like how we normally sketch. Like that also you can get the image of it being made. Okay, so there are many options which suits you. You can basically create like this is how you basically draw. So if you could simply uh, export this now, like no one is gonna know that you guys hand drew it, you just sketched it or whatever. Basically you get the model within no time. Like you get this as an illustration into your file or into your into your sheet or so. Okay, so this is one of the most used stuff for architects or architecture students, for us to make illustrations. Okay, into your sheets or so. If I am just making it into a default and making it into a third one, which I normally use, that is the third set, the constructional document style. Okay, so this I am getting, I can basically export this as well. So next is, if you go to next, one more thing is that if you want to add a watermark to it, you can add it. As I have time, I will show you that as well. Edit, I'll go to here, watermark is there. Okay, you can, if you click watermark, you will see something like this. You can have like two or three, like you will have the same scene makings out here. If you add plus, something like this will, a diagonal box like this will appear. You can add a picture, or you can basically from my lab, I'm just putting art studio ka okay, logo. You can open it. Basically you will get a watermark. You can overlay it, or you can create that as a background. Okay, and then you can press next, and then you can basically either blend it or you can basically keep it. You can create a mask of it. Okay, and you can put next, and you can either create it as a tile like this, so that you can basically create it as like a image that is being made as watermark or so. Okay, and you can just click finish and create the watermark of it as well in this. Okay, I'm just leaving it so that if you guys want, you can do it, but it is rarely used. If you guys want, you can also use it as a watermark with the help of this one. Fine. This much is clear. Any doubts till now? Because today's class, I thought you guys will have some doubts basically while making the animation. Any doubts? Am I audible? Can someone
Yes,
confirm? Okay,
yes.
cool. Okay. So today I will tell you one more thing because I have time. I will tell you something regarding uh, the paint bucket tool, that is to create a Jaali. Okay. If you want a Jaali with some pattern or so, and normally people, what my students, my colleagues, or uh, my friends, whatever they do is they use a plugin known as lattice maker. But I normally don't use it because that basically makes your file a little more heavier. There's a trick to do that. For that, you need a PNG image of a Jaali. Okay, so you can go to your you can go to Windows. You can basically type Jaali PNG. Okay, press enter. So you will get some images like this. Okay, so just take a PNG image and just save the image. Okay, this is a PNG image, then I'm just saving it. Okay, and you can drag and drop this, or you can basically drag and drop this image out here. Okay, so this is a PNG image. Fine. So I have a wall like this. Let me assume that I have a wall like this. Fine. And I have a opening out here which is of the same size. Fine. And I want to create a Jaali here in this part. So what I suggest you is, instead of making with the help of lattice wall or any other plugin, just simply create a box. Okay, so you basically create a box like this, and then what you do is take the image. Okay, rotate it and keep it in just in front of it. Okay, and then left click it and explode it. You will get something like this. Then use the paint bucket tool, press alt and select it. You will get the image to be your paint. Okay, so if you select it, and you can basically get the Jaali being done. This will also create shadow. You can see that this basically could be seen through it. Okay, so this is like a Jaali only. Instead of making using any other thing, you can basically use this paint bucket as your uh, tool for creating Jaalis. Fine. So this is a easy method. You can basically create really fast as well Jaalis. Fine. Like you have any box, if I have any other wall also, like 2 to 3 walls or so na, there also I can basically create this Jaalis. Just if I want the box entirely to be like, just keep this in front of it. Okay, so that, or else this will happen. It will become straight. Got it? There will be distortions. Wherever you want to paint it, keep it straight to it. Fine. So that it basically takes a shape. You can basically create the Jaali within no time. Fine. So, but I told about this Jaali because I had time. Okay, this is an extra thing that you guys can use because this is like a shortcut. Fine, to create Jaalis in SketchUp. This thing, if anyone is having doubt, you can ask.